Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and welcome back to another Hump Day. And joining me, as always, is my talented and beautiful co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome to all of my goblins and ghouls out there. Welcome to Wednesday. Remember, don't be a skeleton. They don't have the guts to be amazing.
What? For new listeners, Voyse and I enjoy reading and talking about stories from the internet that are interesting, funny, and dramatic. Because of our love of stories, we've come together and created this channel to share with you those experiences.
And hopefully give you some food for thought.
Well, Voyse, what have you brewed today?
Well, Timstradamus, I have brewed for you an amazing brew. It is green tea, black tea, pineapple, mango, raspberry, and strawberries.
It smells fantastic.
I try to make it fruity,
Oh God, that is fantastic.
but still give you the caffeine you need to keep your day going.
Whew. That's a 10 out of 10.
All right. Well, while Timstradamus enjoys his morning brew, why don't we go ahead and delve into the stories? For any listeners wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. For our first story, am I the a-hole for being pissed my wife dated my brother before we were married and never mentioned it? My 50-ish male, wife, 50-ish female, have been married 20 plus years. My brother's 45-ish male, wife, 45-ish female, my sister-in-law, recently disclosed at a family dinner that my brother had a date with my wife several weeks before we started dating. I never knew. They kept it a secret all these years. I realize it is ancient history, but we have had our marriage issues like every couple over the years. I feel pain, violated, and almost irrationally angry that this secret was common knowledge in my family, but I was clueless. I don't know how physical it was, but the implication by my sister-in-law was that they were intimate. My wife and I already sleep apart. I am thinking of ending it with her over this. I was a fool for half my life to everyone close to me. I feel like they are all a-holes. From my parents, who said they thought I knew, to my siblings who all knew, I want no contact, at least for a while. Am I the a-hole?
What the spasmithball you have for us on Wednesday?
Oh, yes.
So let's delve into this story, because I think it's more than just the perceived betrayal. I want to ask this. Does the OP tell us the relationship between him and his wife at all?
Are you talking about in the comment section or in his post?
I'm talking about all of it, baby.
Let me go ahead and read these two edits for you, and then let's see what you think after it. Edit 1. At work. Cannot keep up. Appreciate all the votes both ways. Lots of constructive comments. Lots of other comments too. Appreciate the varied responses. I'll post another edit after I talk to my wife and brother. Edit 2. Talked on the phone to my brother. They were intimate/smashed regularly. More than a few times. Was more friends with benefits. Close down the street where they lived. I guess both were busy, horny young professionals who wasn't in their 20s. That part is really not my business before us. Just feels weird my brother banged my wife. He raw-dogged her. She was pregnant very shortly after we started dating. We got married pretty quick. It was exciting. Recently, he told his wife, my sister-in-law, and she was upset about it, so she outed them to me/the family. He apologized to me, said he wished he had told me. My bro/sister-in-law have their own problems. My wife won't pick up the phone. I already had trust issues from things she has done in our relationship in her mid-40s. She missed out on sowing her oats, having our kids, stay-at-home mom, so she got a boob job, hit the gym, and let her freak flag fly. It was a phase, and she got over it. We worked through it with counseling. I'm not a cuck for those of you that will say that. Not okay with it, but I think of it like an illness I supported her through. But trust is an issue. A little tiny tickle in the back of my brain saying, what if? I don't want to do that dance again. It was awful for us both. I am a workaholic. I acknowledge prioritizing my job over her, but she likes the upper middle class status. We both have our failings. Can't get into all of our therapy issues in one post. Update again after I talk to her. I'm taking a sick day from the rest of work today.
What an update that was. This OP's life is a mess. He says it there, he's a workaholic. All right, so we have at least the base of why things happen, right? He prioritized his work over his personal life. And unfortunately, a lot of people can fall in that rut.
But it also sounds like she wanted him to make the money because she enjoyed the upper middle class status.
Sure, it sounds like he was the sole income provider, and that tends to lead to having to do those things. Now, his wife sounds like, I don't know if he's telling us straight out, because from what I'm hearing, he's saying that she cheated a lot.
Yes.
And I don't have any room in my empathy bank for cheaters. If you're going to do that, you might as well just end the relationship, because
Agreed.
You're doing yourself and your partner absolutely zero favors. I don't know how you could look in your partner's eyes and tell them that you love them and that you cherish them and you respect them, but you're going behind their back and doing those things. Your wife's character issues are a lot, and it sounds like it's punished him over and over throughout the years. And now the cherry on this very terrible cake is he finds out 20 years into a marriage that his brother boinked his wife. By the way, shame on your brother. That ain't a brother. He didn't tell you about that when you were introducing her? Not once? Now, I agree. What your wife did before she met you has nothing to do with you. And I can get behind that. But it was your brother. I also am alarmed that I'm guessing he's been raising his brother's kid.
There is that potential, yes. Our OP does say it in the comments, though, just to clarify. He says he doesn't want to find out if his son is or isn't biologically his. For him, that's his son, and that will never change.
I feel bad for our OP. It already sounds like this marriage had been crumbling long before this little incident. I would take this as the sign that maybe it is time to just move on. And I wouldn't even blame him if he went non-contact with people, because he says the entire family knew that his brother boinked his wife and that might be his brother's kid. Again, that's fantastic that you said, I don't care and I don't want to know. That's my kid. But there has to be something said for your kindness being repaid for by someone taking advantage of it repeatedly.
And I think that's where all of this comes down to.
He's definitely not the a-hole.
So the consensus was there are no a-holes here. People say that this is messy across all of it. To blame one side is really hard because we only truly know one side. And I have to agree, this is a situation where our OP didn't correct it early on when they had marriage issues to begin with. If you found out mid-marriage that your wife is a cheater and apparently is a liar, which is why you have so many trust issues with her, this really shouldn't come as a surprise. I hate to say it like that. What struck me reading this, our OP sounds very lonely and very sad. You can hear it in all of it. He's so lonely, he's trying to excuse her heinous acts. I can't understand how you would sacrifice your feelings. It doesn't matter how much someone is a workaholic, they still have feelings. And if anything, a lot of the times, other people's expectations on certain individuals causes them to become workaholics because they oftentimes are trying to either one, live a certain lifestyle for themselves, or two, enable somebody to live a certain lifestyle. And it's difficult because here he straight up admits she's got a certain lifestyle she wants to maintain.
And unfortunately, it sounds like he's the one that has to uphold that side.
Which is why it's hard to say who exactly is the a-hole.
I think the only person I'm mad at in that situation would only be the brother.
I
for
agree.
Not telling him and disclosing, hey, by the way, this person you're getting in this relationship with, we had a physical relationship for a minute. It wasn't just like a quick thing. He said this was a repeated event that they partook in. You couldn't have at least told your brother, of all people, like, hey, by the way, I think that might be my kid. None of that ever came along. I don't get any of it. Now, for her not to disclose that, that's kind of fishy too, but I put more of the onus on the brother for not being a brother.
It's just really bad. I keep veering back and forth between everyone sucks here and no a-holes here because I can't tell how far this situation got really bad because our OP didn't do something sooner. For our next story, am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend of 3 years that I can't imagine marrying her? Throwaway. I, male 28, have been in a committed relationship with my girlfriend, Stacy, female 27, for almost 3 years. We both consider this to be our first serious relationship, and it has been the best experience of my life. She's wonderful in every sense of the word, and I love her greatly. Stacy feels the same way about me and often calls me her dream guy. That's even how she introduced me to her family and all her friends. While we are deeply in love with each other, I have always kept the significant differences that we have in the back of my mind. Stacy and I come from different cultural backgrounds, have different religious beliefs, and even differ in terms of political views and family life. Though it pains me to admit it, I've always felt that we each hold these views far too strongly to ever have a successful long life relationship. However, I've never expressed this opinion to Stacy. Recently, Stacy has been talking about how some of her friends are starting to get engaged and married. She's been mentioning things like marriage and having kids pretty frequently lately. This has been going on for a few weeks, and it honestly hurts me to hear her talk like that considering my own viewpoints. This situation became serious last night when we were talking in our apartment. She kept on saying things like, when we get married and growing old together, among other things. After we had dinner, she point blank asked me if I had any location in mind for us to get married. I was uncomfortable and tried to shift the conversation to something else, but she kept on persisting. I then said, I'm not really thinking about marriage now. I can't remember her exact words, but she said something along the lines of how she's secretly been thinking about it since our first date. I then, probably very stupidly, said that I never thought we'd be getting married considering all our differences. She looked surprised at this, but interpreted it as back then and not now. When I confirmed I meant the present day, she looked devastated and shocked. She said that she could only imagine a future with me and that our whole relationship was imbalanced since she clearly cared more about me than I did about her. I said that I did care for her, but our differences were too great to realistically work long term. She said some other things along the same line, but it's kind of a blur now. She started crying at this and said she couldn't even look at me anymore. She then locked herself in our room. I tried to talk to her several times, but she didn't respond, and I ended up sleeping on the couch. This morning, when I was headed to work, the door was still locked. When I got back home, she was gone and left me with a post-it note saying that she'd be staying at her friend's house for the next few days. I told my younger sister, Krista, female 24, later, and she said that I was awful throughout the exchange. She was furious and said that I needed to apologize. From my perspective, I only wanted to be honest with Stacy. Am I the a-hole?
Ay caramba. So lame. So let's unravel this story. ROP says that he's 28, right?
Correct.
And his girlfriend is 27. Of course, around that age, you start thinking about marriage. Because yes, of course, around that age, all of your friends and family are most likely getting married or engaged. That's just what happens. You start settling down, you figure out what you do and do not want at that point in life. So it's normal for that to crop up. Now his girlfriend, I guess, how long have they been dating at this point? 3 years?
3 years.
She was very smitten with him from the second he said hello. It sounds like to me.
Love at first sight.
And now she's talking to him a lot more often about them getting married.
And having kids.
Sounds like she's ready for all of it. And now for ROP, he's definitely not anywhere in that ballpark. And then the reasonings he gives for that are shallow. Because I have known plenty of people that are the complete polar opposites of their partners in almost every aspect, including race, religion, and politically. There is such a thing as healthy disagreements in a marriage. But I guess He needs to have someone who thinks and is exactly the way he is in all of the aspects of his life. The truth is, that's going to be very hard to find.
He could always stand in front of a mirror.
And marry himself, it sounds like. Yeah. Guy, I think you're making a huge mistake, and I hope people gave you some much needed perspective on it, because it sounds like you found a perfectly lovely human being to be in a relationship with, and you're screwing it up. I did not hear one bad thing outside of you judging her for not believing exactly what you believe in. 100% in my mind, you are the a-hole.
Well, the consensus was overwhelmingly our OP's the a-hole. The flood that came in was pretty bad. So bad that he deleted his profile. Now, I'll narrow it down to 2 things that commenters put out there. 1, you falsely allowed someone to develop feelings for you. And then on top of that, you manipulated them. You were going to keep it quiet, and if she didn't push, you were going to tell her. 3 years into a relationship, and you have no intention of getting married to her, even though you know that's one of her priorities. And then on top of that, you move in with her. Essentially, people took it as you're just wanting to use her as an easy lay. Redditors say that she should get out. Because if he would string you along like this, knowing that you are never going to get what you'd like out of it, no reason to be in a relationship. I think the thing that makes it really bad, in my opinion, and I have to agree with commenters on this, is that he says, I was uncomfortable and tried to shift the conversation to something else. The only reason why this even happened is because she was persistent. Because a lot of the time, the proposal tends to be left more towards the masculine counterpart of a relationship.
Things have changed today, though.
It has. And a lot of women are coming out there and they're being the ones to propose now.
Sure.
And I'm supposing that she was trying to be the assertive one in the relationship so that they could hopefully start their future being married together. I don't think that she was expecting for him to say, I never ever expect to marry you. I can imagine as a woman thinking that maybe he's just too afraid to go through with it now, but over time he'd get comfortable as our relationship keeps growing. I can't imagine, Timstradamus, if you and I have been together for a while and I asked you point blank, can you imagine marrying me and committing yourself to me, that you would turn around and say, I never imagined marrying you at all.
You share a home together. That didn't stop you sharing a life together at that point? All those things you put up?
Now, I think it's, and I would just like to put this out there, this whole situation is very different when you're encountering couples who come together understanding that they don't believe in the institution of marriage. In this case, one of them did. And while our OP might not, that's not what he says. He doesn't say he never wants to get married. His exact verbiage is he never expects to marry her. That's where all of this sits wrong.
I can agree with that. If you don't want to get married, you just should say you don't want to get married.
Agreed. Well, let's go to our next story, and I can't wait to see what you think of this one. Would I be the butt if I don't tell my girlfriend that I did something bad? Been with my 32 male girlfriend, 26 female, for 1.5 months, and things have been going great. I like her a lot, and I've been so excited about our relationship and our future together. She's confided in me about her past and said that her ex-boyfriend of 1 year cheated on her by having a full-on other girlfriend. That was traumatizing for her, but she was able to heal, and I'm her first relationship since. This experience has left her very avoidant in terms of conflict, though. In fact, she broke up with that ex via text. She says she'd rather not discuss an argument in person or in real time because she'd rather sit with it and think. She also told me that if you do something bad, please don't tell me. I think it goes back to how her ex's cheating messed her up. Last week, I fucked up. I sexted and sent nudes and explicit videos to my ex-girlfriend, and she sent similar things back. I had told her prior that I have a girlfriend now, and she said she was happy for me, But other things got discussed and one thing led to another and the sexting happened. I'll admit that I mostly initiated it. I didn't talk to my ex for an entire week, and we just did a call the other day where she said I had to come clean to my girlfriend. But I told her about my girlfriend's boundary about bad things happening. Also, I haven't told my girlfriend about the existence of my ex yet because it seemed too complicated to talk about so early on. She said I shouldn't let that boundary stop me and that she also wants to apologize to her herself via a call or a message. I told her I'd think about it. We also agreed to stop talking to each other, full stop. Would I be the butt if I just didn't tell my girlfriend because she said so herself that she didn't want to know? I figure, since it's just sexting and none of it was in person anyways, that it's more like the equivalent of looking at porn online and maybe confessing to her would hurt her more than just keeping it to myself. Definitely not even on the same level as having a whole ass girlfriend on the side. What do you guys think? Is it kinder to just pretend nothing happened?
I'm noping out. How old is this guy?
32.
No, you didn't at 32. What was happening? Okay. I'll tell you what. Because I'm feeling good today, I will bestow you with the Wiener Jacket of the Week award. You've got it. Clearly, I think he's an a-hole. What you did with your ex-girlfriend, yes, is 100% cheating. I don't know in what world he's trying to say it's no different than looking at online porn. No, dude, this was your ex-girlfriend who you're texting pictures to back and forth with.
And videos.
He's trying to minimize it. At 32, I will say this though. When it comes to your current girlfriend, I hope that she is your ex-girlfriend now. If you want to do right by her, you'll just leave. But at some point, she does have to go get herself into some type of counseling. You can't walk around avoiding things in your life because she's going to end up bumping into more of you. So you're definitely the a-hole. Go get yourself some help too.
Well, Redditors came through and they said he's definitely the a-hole or a POS, some of them said. Now, let me just make this clear. Redditors said, wait, you came to us asking Reddit to give you permission to cheat and to absolve your conscience of this. Wasn't going to happen. They said, do one of two things. One, tell her. Or two, just leave and don't tell her. You pick. But it really should be, she knows the truth, even if it hurts, so that she can make the choice of wanting to stay with you. Or you make that choice and know that you're saving her from the pain, but you're not going to still be in that relationship because you don't deserve to be in that relationship.
I agree.
Well, let's go to our last story of the day, and I promise it won't be as bad as this one.
I don't believe you. You have that smile on your face.
Am I the a-hole for saying my brother-in-law should move the date of his wedding or husband and I can't go? A friend of mine from college is getting married at a destination I had dreamed of going to for a long time, but was totally out of our budget. Her uncle owns a resort and has offered amazing discounts on rooms to her guests. We've had this planned for months, RSVP'd, booked a room, arranged childcare, everything. Now his brother wants to get married the weekend of the wedding. They're not really doing anything, just a quick ceremony and party in my in-laws' backyard. It will be more like a family barbecue than any kind of actual wedding. My husband wants to cancel everything so we can be in town. I don't want to cancel for the reasons outlined above. We've been in an argument about it. I suggested that his brother can just move it to the weekend before or after. They don't have out-of-town guests, a wedding venue or vendors booked, or anything that would stop them from being able to move it, so my husband and I can attend. It's just pure stubbornness. My husband isn't backing me up on this at all, and has definitely been talking shit to his family about me, which I hate. He thinks I'm being entitled. If his brother was having a real wedding that had been planned for months and involved a ton of time or money spent, I'd feel differently. But as I said, it costs them nothing to just change the weekend. Am I the a-hole?
Oh my giddy aunt. All right. So OP is very excited for a wedding that she's going to with her husband for a friend.
Correct.
It's a destination wedding at a place she's always wanted to go.
Those are very exciting.
How fortuitous. They've planned this months out, reserved every single thing, planned out all of it. Plane tickets, childcare,
The hotel.
all of it. You know how hard that is to make sure everything lines up when you have children and a family? It's a lot.
I hear it.
So when you're hyped for this and you're ready to roll, and all of a sudden your brother-in-law wants to get married. Great, I'm happy for you. But you know, and I would know, he would know, that there's a wedding we're going to that week that is a destination wedding. And he picks that very week to get married.
That specific weekend.
And not only that, my partner is agreeing with his sister to the point where they're talking shit about me behind my back about the situation. My question would be, because now that I know my partner does not want to go to this destination wedding, because he made it very clear. He said he's ready to cancel all of the plans that they've made already. So that way they can stay home and go to the wedding that's been planned in 2 seconds. It's very clear to me that her husband doesn't want to go to the wedding that they've been planning for months. And it was really easy for him to just shirk all of that. I wonder, in my wonder ball, was this a planned event between brother and brother to make sure one didn't have to go to a destination wedding that he clearly did not want to go to?
Sounds like someone's going to enjoy a destination wedding on their own.
And if that's how it have to be, sometimes that's how it have to be. Why say lot word when few word do trick?
Agreed.
At the end of the day, OP, I wish and I hope that you decided to go on the destination wedding and participate in it, because it sounds like you're not getting any support from your husband, and that sucks. As far as your question is concerned, you can ask them to move it. I don't see a problem with you asking. Now, obviously, they're going to tell you no because it's their wedding. No one's going to move their wedding for someone, especially when they clearly don't respect you if they're talking crap behind your back. I understand for him, though, it's his brother and he wants to be there, but his brother should have read the room and went, oh man, you guys have a thing that you've been planning for months out. Maybe not pick that weekend when you're going away to do it. Maybe any other day around that could have been fine. But apparently, like I said, it sounds like something got coordinated behind a door that you don't know about. But in my opinion, you're definitely not the a-hole, OP.
So, our consensus on Reddit, our OP is definitely not the a-hole. In fact, commenters were saying, how are you entitled? Please, pray tell, let us know, because you RSVP'd and booked for this months before your brother-in-law even mentioned about having any type of wedding. This has just literally happened. You definitely aren't in the wrong here. And your husband is being extremely malicious to talk about you behind your back.
That's not a good partner.
No. If anything, it should raise on what other messed up things are happening in their relationship. If it goes so far as your husband trash talking you and you're aware of it. But I agree with you, Timstradamus. I think our OP just needs to go ahead and have a relaxing wedding destination vacation.
Well, my beautiful voice, was that the last story?
That was the last story, Timstradamus.
You're matching my energy. What a good set of stories you have for Hump Day.
Thank you.
Well, as our stories come to a close, don't forget, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. We regularly post on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We would also like to give our warmest thanks to our patrons for your support.
We love every single one of you.
And we appreciate it. Mwah, mwah.
As always, listeners, we look forward to hearing your opinions in the comments below. What did you think about the stories today? Which was your favorite? And remember, if you post it, maybe we'll see it on the internet.